Hi, I'm Brad Fowler. I am a solo practitioner and I provide outsourced general counsel services for small and medium-sized businesses. If you have a business, you are probably using contracts with your customers, your vendors, your suppliers, things like that. 9 out of 10 times you need to talk to an attorney about them, even if you don't want to, because attorneys aren't any smarter than anybody else, but we have gone to law school, we have been trained, we do take a look at these things and actually understand what all of the weird language at the end of the contract means. A lot of people think that the only part of the contract that is going to be important is the part about what you're going to do and how much you're going to be paid for it. That's not enough. You need to look at and fully understand everything that is in the contract. It's going to impact not just the work that you do, but also other parts of your business. For instance, your insurance rates and premiums can be changed based on what is in the contracts that you sign. You might have issues with getting loans or things like that because of what is in the contracts that you signed. You might have issues buying new equipment or having security interest filed against your equipment because of what's in the contract that you've signed. If you read it and you don't know what's in there, talk to somebody who does this kind of thing for a living. I know that people don't want to go see lawyers because they think that lawyers are expensive, but every time that you talk to a business attorney, you should be able to ask them before you sign anything, before you commit it to anything, hey, give me an idea of what this is going to cost. And then you can make the decision about whether or not that is right for you. If you are starting a new business, you are going to have a conversation with at least an attorney and an accountant about what kind of organization or entity that you're going to want to form. It used to be that everyone would form a corporation. Then starting in the 80s up until now, pretty much everyone forms a limited liability company unless they have a specific reason to form a corporation. When you form an LLC, you can choose to file your taxes as an S-Corp. A lot of people do that because it will save you some money on your taxes depending on your situation. The reason that you need to talk to an attorney and an accountant about this is because the attorney will be able to set these things up and will advise you about the differences between LLCs and corporations. The accountant will be able to figure out for you which one of these situations is going to lower or lessen your tax burden. Have those conversations. I know it looks easy. I know LegalZoom makes it look like you can do this thing in 5 minutes. Sure you can. The problem with that is the next year when you go to file your taxes and you find out that you've done something wrong that's going to cost you a lot of money, that's when it comes back to bite you. So I would say, again, have the conversation with the attorney and with the accountant. Let me give you a bit of bad advice, if I can. If you are starting a business, if you are running a business, you don't need a lawyer. All we do is cost money, and we're a pain in the behind, and we tell you not to do things that you don't want to do. You can figure all this stuff out yourself. You don't need lawyers. It's just, fancy letters after our name. That's it. What you do is you just do whatever you want to do until things go wrong, and only then do you have to see a lawyer. And I mean, when things go wrong, I want you to wait until everything is on fire. Wait until it is just a complete dumpster fire, and only then, as a last resort, go see a business attorney. And the reason that I want you to do this is because me and other business attorneys at that point in time when everything is on fire are going to charge you somewhere between 5 to 10 times as much to put the fire out than what we would have charged you in the very beginning to make sure there wasn't a fire in the first place. So for the sake of me sending my kids to college, please wait until everything is terrible before you come see me, because that will be very helpful to me. Thank you. Kinds of lawyers. There are lawyers for everything. The weird thing about lawyers is we're licensed by the State Bar Association. So the crazy thing about being a lawyer is I only work with businesses. But if I wanted to, I could be someone's divorce lawyer. If I wanted to, I could be someone's personal injury lawyer. Now that would be a terrible idea both for me because of malpractice and for the client because I wouldn't do a good job for them. But that's something that you, as someone who's looking to hire an attorney, will need to watch out for. If you saw this personal injury attorney who is an ad on the side of a bus, you probably don't want to call him and talk to him about how you can sell your business to somebody else. Probably a smart man or woman, but if this is not something they do, then that's probably not someone that you want to work with on this issue. What to look for in an attorney? Really, it's, I think for a lot of people, personality-based and then numbers-based. So you're going to want an attorney who is responsive to you. You're going to want an attorney who is clear with you about what they're going to be doing and how much they are going to be paid. And these are conversations that you should be able to have with an attorney. If you call your attorney, you should be able to get them on the phone. If you email your attorney, you should be able to get a response. Attorneys these days have a variety of different fee structures. Certainly, everyone knows the traditional type is hourly. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to charge you by the hour. You're going to pay me X dollars per hour to do this work. Flat fee is another way that a lot of attorneys will do work. So let's say you need a specific document prepared. You have an LLC and you need an operating agreement. Okay, a lot of attorneys will say, well, for that document, I charge X amount. And then you understand that. One of the other things that some attorneys are moving towards is basically like a subscription-based plan. And that is something that is not going to work for all clients. So you want to take a look at that. Nowadays, everyone, and when I say everyone, I mean all companies are basically trying to turn any goods that they might sell you into a service technically. So, instead of buying this device and paying one flat fee for it, you get the device for cheaper, and then they want to charge you, $15 a month for the rest of your life. Lawyers are moving in that direction as well. This can make sense for some people. If you have a business that is in a regulated industry, if you frequently need to talk to an attorney, maybe a subscription-based plan would be good because you could pay a set price per month and then know what you're getting from the attorney. But if this is the first time that you're working with an attorney, I think you should be careful about that because you'll need to know exactly what is included in your plan, and you're going to need to know if you actually need enough of the lawyer's time that's going to make it worthwhile for you. Because under those plans, since again they are subscription-based, let's say you don't call the attorney for the entire month, they're still getting paid whatever the fee is for that month. So take a look at those different options, talk to the attorneys about those, and then try and figure out what's best for you. One of the things that I think business people really need to understand, this is generally where, again, lawyers get most of our business, is we're thinking about your worst case scenarios. And one of the things that I tell people to do, because I'm always thinking of their worst case scenario, is make sure that you get things in writing. I had a client recently who had an adverse finding of fact in a circuit court case because they had made complaints about some product that had been delivered to the supplier, but the problem is they never wrote anything down. They didn't think they needed to because this is someone that they've been doing business with for a decade. Oh, they always take care of us, we always take care of them, it all comes out in the wash. That works until the day it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work and you don't have anything in writing and you haven't kept records about these things, then that's when you have a problem. In the case that I had, the judge made a finding of fact that he did not believe my client's story, that he had gone back to this supplier and told them a number of times that there were issues with the product because there was nothing in writing. My client had said, over a course of 3 months, I probably talked to him about it 6 times. And the judge said, obviously the supplier said, no, we never had those conversations. So at that point in time, you've got 2 people saying 2 different things. If it had been in an email, if it had been in a letter, if it had been in text messages, it'd be pretty easy for a judge to decide. And if you don't put things in writing, then you're basically giving away for free would be something that would be easy for you to prove if you ever needed to. With regard to buying or selling a business, this happens all the time. These transactions are very commonplace. One of the things that you're going to want to do if you're thinking about buying or selling a business is get a valuation done of the business. There are basically business appraisers out there who you can get in touch with and will take a look at the business and can value it. The reason that you want to do this is, let's say you're unfamiliar with the industry. You're going to need someone who knows how to look at these things, to look at the books and to tell you, what the numbers should be. Even if you are familiar with the industry, it's a smart thing to have a valuator take a look at those things, just in case they pick up anything that you might miss. You can be a great roofer, but if you aren't an accountant or an evaluator, you might have a hard time going through the company that you're trying to buy's books and figuring out whether or not they are as profitable as they say they are. The other issues with that, certainly you want to get the business valued. You want to talk to your accountant and your attorney about those sorts of transactions. Because, again, you need to make sure that you're going to have the proper documentation. Are you buying the business or are you just buying the assets of the business? There's a big difference there, and it can have significant tax and legal implications. So again, that's something that a lot of businesses have great success in growing their business and growing their market share by purchasing other businesses. But again, contact your trusted professionals, talk to them about that. Liability insurance. You have to have it. Look, the reason that you form an LLC or you form a corporation or whatever entity you're going to use is so that in the event that something happens, there's a lawsuit, your personal assets are going to be protected from any debts of the company. But the reason you need liability insurance is because if something happens, if there is a lawsuit or claim against the company, the insurance company is going to step in and is going to take over that process and pay that if there's an adverse finding. You could save maybe 2 figures if you buy insurance off the internet, and that between $1 and $100 is totally going to help you when you have a catastrophic insurance claim, and instead of being able to call someone locally that you have a relationship with, you get connected to a call center somewhere else on the earth. Don't do that. You need to, and you'll be very well served by having an insurance agent that you can actually get on the phone when you need to, by having someone who knows something about your business and who can help you with insurance policies, which again are not easy to figure out and frankly are designed so that they're hard for people to read and hard for people to understand. If you need to spend a little bit extra to get someone who you can sit down with and look in the eye and talk these things through, strongly advise that you do that. That is not where you want to cut corners. The reason that you need liability insurance is, again, if there's a claim, if there's a lawsuit, the insurance company is going to do 2 things. One is they're going to provide a defense for you. That's very important. What that means is they'll get you a lawyer, and the lawyer is going to be paid for by the insurance company. That right there is absolutely the reason to do it. Legal fees for any of these lawsuits, any of these claims against you, could cripple a small business, and the insurance company is going to be paying for that. The second thing is, let's say there's a judgment entered against you. One of your workers is driving a truck on the highway, hits a minivan, and then you've got 5 different people filing personal injury lawsuits against you. In the event that there is a judgment entered, the insurance company is then going to pay that. Insurance premiums are not cheap. You can do comparative shopping. You can try to structure contracts in a way that will get you lower insurance premiums. But you absolutely have to have liability insurance, because otherwise if something goes wrong and you don't have insurance, claims or lawsuits like that put small companies out of business every time. Find an insurance agent locally and make sure that you do get adequate coverage. Like I said, I provide outsourced general counsel for small and medium-sized businesses, which basically means I try to be the in-house attorney for my business clients. I'm also a solo practitioner, and I've had my own law firm for about 18 months. One of the things that I had told my business clients before I started my own law firm, and one of the things that then I had to figure out myself, is you should be doing what you are good at and what you really enjoy. Most of the time, if you're a small business owner, you're doing it because you have a passion for what you're pursuing, for what you're trying to build. Just because you're a small business owner does not mean that you also have to become an amateur lawyer, an amateur accountant, an amateur insurance agent. You're going to need these services, but you shouldn't be the one who's figuring all of these things out. You need to move some things off your plate, basically create a team that you work with who can handle some of these things. So I would strongly suggest that if you don't have an insurance agent, a financial planner, or someone who can handle 401ks, an accountant, a business attorney, that you reach out and try and meet some people who can provide those services. And as always, have a fee discussion. People that are working with you understand that you're a small business. Maybe you're not going to have the money up front to pay for some of the things that you were looking for. It is always appropriate with a service professional like that to have a discussion about both how much things are going to cost and then how and when you can pay for them. So I think the best advice that I could give would be try to move some of the things off of your plate so that you can focus on the things that you enjoy doing, which most of the time are the things that bring the money in the door.